Hi everybody, Stephanie Haney here. Welcome back to 3 News Now. It is Monday, December 9th, 2019. Start off today giving you a quick update on the impeachment inquiry hearings that are underway right now in Washington, D.C. This is the second round of hearings held by the House Judiciary Committee, which will be the committee that ends up drafting the articles of impeachment, which they already said they will be in the process of drafting up those articles. Democrats are hoping to have those drafted by the end of the week. Today, we are hearing from lawyers for both Democrats and Republicans on findings from the Intelligence Committee's impeachment inquiry. Just as a little reminder here, this is all over allegations that President Donald Trump withheld aid to Ukraine in order to pressure its government to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden. Earlier this morning, we heard from Majority Counsel Daniel Goldman and the Republicans' lawyer Steve Castor. Right now, we're in the process of hearing from Majority Counsel for the Judiciary Committee, Barry Burke. All right, now we're going to dive into the top headlines, trending topics, and what we're working on for you right now ahead of our 6, 7, and 11 p.m. TV shows tonight. First of all, I just want to say Happy Victory Monday. We haven't got to have one of those. It's 2 weeks now. Finally get to use my Victory Monday mug, and I am wearing orange in celebration of the special occasion of beating the Bengals 27-19. We're also going to take a look at the Golden Globe nominations that are out, and there were some high-profile snubs. We're going to talk a little bit about that before we bring in our investigator, Mark Naymik, who's going to talk to us about the Westside market losing yet another long-term tenant. He'll tell us why. We'll take a look at what Swenson's drive-thru is doing that might have it competing with Chick-fil-A. Yes, I said that. We've got something very exciting happening here in Northeast Ohio. Before we talk to Romney Smith about flu season, how it's hitting earlier and harder than it has in years past. And then we'll end the day with a little bit of Monday motivation, talking about We Know You Can. And today we are talking about resilience and overcoming adversity. Okay, first up, Golden Globe nominations are out, and there were some high-profile snubs today. This is the 77th annual Golden Globe Awards that will be happening in January. And these are the awards that are voted on by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for Best in TV and Film. We have the whole list of nominees up on WKYC.com. We're going to talk about the people who were left out today. As expected, Martin Scorsese's The Irishman had a lot of nominations, including Best Motion Picture, and Al Pacino and Joe Pesci were nominated for Best Supporting Actor for their roles in the film. But you know who was absolutely denied was Robert De Niro. He was not given a nomination for his role in the film. He is the star of the 3-hour and 30-minute film. A lot of people very surprised about that, to say the least. Another pretty surprising snub in the nominations: no Game of Thrones this year. Everybody was anticipating the final season of Game of Thrones. It actually won the Emmy this year, but it was not nominated for Best Television Series Drama. So no Game of Thrones. Another surprising miss in the nominations is NBC's This Is Us. Not a single nomination. This is right after it's been picked up for multiple seasons, and it was nominated for Outstanding Drama Series at the Emmys in September. A lot of people surprised about that. I was talking with Jay Crawford about this earlier on lunch break, and he pointed out that there were no shows that appear on free television nominated. So we're not seeing any, there was no This Is Us, which is on NBC, no ABC shows, no CBS, no Fox. It was all paid programming. The streaming services definitely had a moment. Apple TV Plus's morning show, which just came out, got 3 nominations itself for Best TV Drama and Best Actress for both Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston. Lots of nominations as well for Amazon, Netflix, and Hulu. But we weren't seeing those major free TV shows. This is the first major award show of the season, so it kind of sets the tone for the award season. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out when it airs on January 5th here on 3. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Okay, now we're going to bring in Mark Naymik, our investigative reporter here at 3 News, and we're going to talk to him about Ohio City's Westside market. We know that the Westside market has been having some issues. We talked to Mark about some of those issues in the past before, but they have another problem right now. They are losing another long-term tenant, and Mark is here to tell us
Hi, Stephanie. How are you? First, I got to say I might have fallen asleep during The Irishman, so
I made it halfway through.
I'm there.
Halfway through, and now I have to watch the other half.
So I don't know how De Niro does at the end. But all right, we'll move on to the West Side market. There is an ongoing issue there, complaints about the physical structure. Any vendor down there could fill their lunch hour telling you about moldy basements, leaky basements, coolers that don't work. We've covered issues like the electrical system.
Yes.
The roof needs to be upgraded. It's a 107-year-old structure. That's not really the big issue. That's not what's driving vendors. Why vendors are leaving because they feel the city has been slow to embrace change as a shopper. We now have, online ordering for grocery stores that offer more of those fresh meats and fish and other baked goods. So they have a real competitive issue. And I was down there today for several hours. Most vendors don't want to talk on camera. For one, their contract prohibits them from doing so.
Really?
Remember, the city is the landlord, and their leases say that they're not supposed to ever be speaking out. Some do, some don't. Today, they didn't want to talk about a recent vendor who left, but I did talk to the head of the Vendors Association, who is allowed to speak, and he said the city is inching towards some really interesting changes. For example, they want to create a customer hub, that's what they call it, which is a concierge. When you walk in, it might help that millennial know how to shop at a market like this.
Right.
That ultimately needs to be in place so that they can address the issue of online ordering. They envision, this head of the association at least, envisions this idea of maybe stopping in, putting in an order, then going to all the bars and restaurants around there. And then coming back and picking up your food cold or hot, depending on what you're ordering.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah,
actually.
It sounds like a real push. They want to also change how produce works. Right now, you can't pick your own. I think that's a real issue. It's always been a lot of redundancy on certain vendors. Again, all of that's potentially on the table. A lot of it's up to the city. We reached out to the city today to ask them both about recent departures, how many vendors are there, how many are coming back, and about these issues. And the city chose not to put anyone on camera and went and did their own press conference. They Facebook lived or stream lived on Facebook. Darnell Brown, who's operations director for the city of Cleveland, responding to some questions that was asked by the press secretary, whom I spoke to today. And she kind of got towards a few of those. We're choosing not to air that in our piece later because we weren't there live. And I think it's important for us to have a real dialogue and talk about the issues. But I think the takeaway or the headline would be that, they're looking at some pretty dramatic changes. Nostalgia is not enough to fill that place anymore. Better marketing. People love the market. They need to be reminded that it's still there, according to Don Whitaker of Whitaker Meats, who's the head of that association. And we'll see now if the city can follow through. We've been hearing for years about investments coming, money set aside. They did do a whole parking makeover. It's split depending on which vendors you think. They think it might have scared away some of their older customers who don't, they see a gate and they think they have to pay even though you get 90 minutes free or something like that up front. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to be following it. You can get more of this story tonight at 6.
And in case you weren't aware, you can always watch our shows on 3, of course, over the air and for free if you have an HD antenna, but on WKYC.com as well. We stream all of our shows
and
MDF.
I promise you will not fall asleep during our newscast.
You
like
will
you
not.
do with the Irishman.
You will not. We will keep you awake. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks
I
for having me,
appreciate it.
Stephanie.
If you're looking for other food and dining options in Northeast Ohio, you might be interested to know that Swenson's Drive-In has decided after 85 years in the game to try out waffle fries. Yes, waffle fries, and I am very excited about it, and I have to say, Chick-fil-A may be getting a run for its money. Popeyes first competing with that chicken sandwich. Now we have Swenson's offering waffle fries, and they are available starting today. Yes, Monday, December 9th, you can get them at the drive-in. It is for a limited time only. Now, I'm not sure if that is necessarily for them to test it out and see what the market is like, or if they're just teasing us, because I can't speak for everyone, but I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that people love their waffle fries. So go ahead and check that out at Swenson's Drive-In. All right, now we're going to bring in Romney Smith, who's going to talk to us about how flu season is hitting earlier and harder here in Ohio and around the country.
Yes, so recently the CDC out of Atlanta came out with startling new statistics saying 900 people have died already. 17,000 people have been hospitalized and 1.7 million have already been diagnosed by a doctor with having the flu. Now, normally, just for some perspective for you guys, the flu season hits in like February. So we're seeing this months and months earlier. So today I went to university hospitals and I was speaking with physicians about, does this mean that it'll end early or could it be longer? Sad to say, they said it could be either. It's too early to tell right now, but keep in mind, if they're saying it could be till May, It's just December. So December, January, February, March, April, May. That's 6 months. So they're saying it's not too late to get your flu shot if you haven't. I unfortunately have not gotten it because I plan to get it in October, and then I moved here, so there was a lot going on, but they said it's not too late if you already have it. And of course, the best thing they say, which we've all heard before, is just to wash your hands. Hygiene, 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 but they say don't do the quick
You
wash.
got to get in there the 30 seconds up to the elbow. If you worked in fast food, you know this.
Right. Sing a song, sing the happy birthday song, sing the chorus of whatever your favorite song is. That's usually enough time because germs, the flu virus itself can live on your hands. So if you don't like to wash your hands, you know how some people just use that antibacterial gel?
Yep.
That's not good enough. The flu virus can live on your hand even after 2 minutes of you washing with just the antibacterial gel.
Wow.
So you need soap and water, not just the gel. And it's even better if you do soap and water and then the gel, because it's kind of a pesky virus, but it's ramping up, it's hitting hard. So their biggest advice, get the flu vaccine now, because we could be in for a long haul. And there's another surprise, I'm not gonna reveal it now, but y'all need to be watching because it's kind of serious right now.
Okay, thank you for this warning, Romney.
Absolutely.
We can also find out what that other scary thing is at 6 p.m. And as I said before, you can watch us over the air on Channel 3, but also on WKYC.com and in our app.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Romney. All right, now we're going to end the day on a happy note here with a little bit of Monday motivation for you in a segment we call #WeKnowYouCan. The theme of today is habits that can help you build up resiliency and how you can overcome adversity, because we hear a lot of talk about overcoming adversity and the importance of being able to bounce back, but we don't necessarily hear a lot of times people talking about how they build up those skills. But the good news is resiliency is a learned skill, according to Leslie Riopel, who is a professor of psychology at Northwood University. And this is according to a blog post that she published on positivepsychology.com, which is in our story up on WKYC.com. So some of the habits that we can get into in order to learn that skill and sort of flex that muscle when it comes to building up resiliency include finding a good support system and maintaining those positive relationships, having a good self-image of yourself and keeping in a positive attitude, making realistic plans and carrying out plans that you put in place, as well as effectively managing your feelings and impulses in healthy ways, so avoiding destructive, negative behaviors. Also having good communication skills, which is something that we can practice all day long when we're communicating and interacting with the people around us, as well as maintaining confidence in your strength and abilities and cultivating good problem-solving skills. So you can find those habits as I've just listed them off for you on WKYC.com in our story about this. So we did reach out and we asked people if they wanted to share some of the ways that they've gotten through tough times and challenges, and we heard back from a couple of people. Larry Seaman says, echoing some of the things that we just heard from the psychology professor, if you're fortunate enough to have a support system to encourage you and assist you, then that's a solid foundation that will give you a place of welcome refuge if you're in the middle of a struggle. To Larry, what's really helpful is a mentor, finding someone that he could trust, that could advise him with his best interests as the goal, not their own interests playing a part in that. But as Larry said, and as we all know, I think finding someone like that can definitely be difficult. So Larry mentions that one key for him when you don't necessarily have a person like that in your life is to not give up and not do destructive things to mask a perception of failure or defeat, but instead keep that attitude of determination, be willing to sacrifice. And Larry says, I speak from experience, it is worth it. We also heard from Flying Grayson 5 on Instagram, who said what's helpful for him is realizing that there is no true adversity. So for Flying Grayson 5, what that means is it's about mindset for this person. It's all about perspective and maintaining a positive perspective, even in the face of setbacks. Thank you for joining us here on 3 News Now. We appreciate you being a part of the stream, weighing in on the comments and liking our Facebook page and following along. If you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/WKYC-TV. While you're there, click the bell on any of our videos so that you get a notification every single time we go live and post new news and great content for you across all of our platforms. I'm Stephanie Haney. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.